Hi, welcome to Yoga Essentials number 5. It's taken me a while to record this one, so I'm really happy to be doing this with you. This is what I think is the final in a series of 50 approximately beginning poses and kind of basic ideas that I wanted to impart to you about yoga. So go ahead and take a nice seat. Sit on a blanket if you have. You can pull the flesh from your sit bones back, and that way you can feel a little more grounded through your seat. And then just rest your hands on the tops of your legs here. You can close your eyes and turn to your breathing. Become aware that you are breathing. The rise and fall of your chest. Allow your belly to move freely. But this breathing exercise here in the beginning, we'll be doing Ujjayi Pranayama. And that's this idea of creating a sound with your breath in the back of your throat to give you an audible feedback as to how you're breathing. So when we get moving, we want to be aware of our breath, even as we move, even as we sit. And having that sound can help ground us more fully in the moment. So the way that we make this sound, it's similar to fogging your breath on a mirror. So if you open your eyes and you can just look up here, I'll take my hand and I'll pretend I have a mirror here. I'm going to fog the mirror, and as I get partway through the breath, I'm going to close my mouth, but I'll keep that breath flowing through, and it'll come through my nose then. And then I'll hear that sound. It goes like this. And then you continue breathing with that upper palate in the back being lifted and firmed. Yeah, so just try it with me, and then we'll just keep breathing the Ujjayi Pranayama. Exhale your breath. Take a breath in. Fog the mirror. And then close your mouth. And keep breathing. You can lower your hand. Soften your eyes. Breathe through your nose. And listen to your breath. It may sound like an ocean sound. Or when you hold up a seashell up to your ear, you can hear that ocean sound with your breath. Staying with this Ujjayi Pranayama, it's very gentle. See if you can now equalize the duration of your breath, your inhale and your exhale, to a 4 count. Inhale for 4. Exhale 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. And exhale 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. And exhale 2, 3, 4. Keep this breath pattern going on your own. Counting silently to yourself. Listening to your breath. Three more breaths. 3 breaths that really ground you in this moment. When you're done with the last breath, let your breath return to normal. No longer counting, no longer trying to shape your breath. Good, and then you can gently open your eyes. And you're going to come onto your backs. If you have a strap, I want you to have that nearby. We're going to use it with our thigh stretch right after this. Come onto your back. And those of you that want to continue the practice, the Ujjayi Pranayama, through the whole practice, you're welcome to do that. Just mindfully breathing through your nose. Go ahead with your feet on the floor, knees bent. Lift your arms up towards the sky. I can see the sky here in my atrium. And then now you're going to float one foot up and then the other. So your knees will be at a right angle, your feet flexed, toes spread. And we'll do these heel taps. Starting with your right leg, go ahead and move your thigh away from you until your heel touches the floor, keeping that right angle with your knee. And then bring that leg back up to the start position. And we'll just do the right leg. Now with your inhale, add the breath. Inhale as you reach and tap. Exhale and lift it up. Inhale as you reach and tap. Exhale as you lift it up. Now keep moving. You're trying to keep those muscles all around your midsection nice and firm so that your belly and your pelvis is not moving too much, but you're just moving the thigh in the hip socket. Exhaling as you pull that leg back up. Inhaling as you reach. Exhaling, using that breath to pull it up. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Other side, left leg. Inhale, reach. Exhale and lift. Inhale as you reach. Exhale, lift. Now with this kind of Pilates exercise, I want you to reach with the heel, inhaling through the nose, and as you exhale, through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. So I'll inhale through the nose as I reach, exhale, pulling it up. A few more of these. It's a little different than our normal yoga breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through pursed lips. Two more. Good, and last one, bring it up. Pause at the top, and then lower one foot, and then the other, and then rest your arms. Good, we're going to do this a couple more times, and we'll add on each time. Reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Float one foot up, and then the other. Now, if this feels very unstable, I want you to imprint your low back into the mat. And I do that by my pelvis rocking under and pulling my ribs in. Keeping that real stable. Let's start with the right leg. Inhale as you tap the right heel. Exhale through pursed lips, bringing it up. And let's do the other leg. Inhale, tap left. Exhale, bring it up. Good, back to the right side. Inhale, tap right. Exhale, lift it. And the left. Exhale, bring it up. Good, now let's add the arms. As you tap the right heel, reach the arms overhead towards the wall behind you, and then use that breath, exhale, pull it up. And then the other leg, left leg reaches, both arms reach overhead. Exhale, lift it up. And then you just keep moving, alternating from right leg. Yeah, both arms, bring it up. And left leg, both arms. Now your arms don't have to touch the floor, just reach them overhead. And as your arms and legs move away from each other, it's really challenging that core stability. Yeah, trying to keep that imprint in your low back if you can. Couple more rounds. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull it up. Good, last round, make it your best. Pause at the top and lower one leg and the other, and then let your arms rest. Lift your feet up off the floor, cross your ankles with your hands on the knees, just move your legs around in a big circle. Massaging the back of your pelvis into the mat, and then circle the other direction. Good. All right, go ahead and put both feet on the floor. Now if you have a strap, this is where you would want to use your strap. On the right leg, using a belt or a strap, you would take the strap and you'd lasso it around your heel, and then you'll make the strap nice and equal end lengths on both sides. And then you can see him grabbing about, let's say, not quite halfway up. And then I'll just give it one wrap with my hands here and use the weight of the arms to root the leg down into the hip socket. My left foot's still here on the floor in the beginning. And then I want you to see if you can tilt your pelvis forward a little bit. So you have a little curve in your low back and your ribs are pulling in. Yeah. Now, if you do not have a strap, you can do the same thing with just your hands and interlace them behind your thigh. Yeah, same action, but I want you to move your thigh into your hands. That'll help you to get that little bit of a lumbar curve, anterior tilt. So either you have your strap on your foot or your hands interlaced behind your thigh. Keep all that, stretch your left leg out on the floor. Flex both feet, especially that left leg. That's your standing leg. Keep all that steady, and then now with the strength of your arms, pull your thigh toward your heart. If you're using the strap, think of pulling your foot towards your head. Deepen your breathing through your nose. Those of you that are practicing the Ujjayi Pranayama, I want you to continue that, breathing gently. A couple more breaths. Good, and then back off on the stretch. Take the strap and put both ends of the strap into your right hand. Well, let's see here. Yeah, you kind of need this. I guess you could do this with your hands on your thigh. And then we'll guide the thigh out to the side. You're guiding the strap out to the side. Leg is turned out, and then you pull gently. I'm just going to use my right hand, pull my right leg towards my head. If you have the strap, it'll be in your right hand, and you're lifting your foot towards your head. With your next exhale, bring the leg back up to the top. Bend your left leg, put your foot on the floor. Push down through your foot, lift your hips, and then roll to the outside edge of your left hip. And now you'll cross that right leg all the way over your body. Change the strap into your left hand. Don't go so far as if you lose this connection with your right shoulder. Right? And then same idea, if you don't have a strap, you could support your leg with your left hand. Both legs active. You might even look out over your right shoulder so you get a full twist. That outer edge of your right hip, wrap it down towards the foot of your mat. With your next exhale, come all the way back up to the top. Straighten out your hips, take the strap off, put both feet on the floor. Just pause here for a moment. Let's do the other side. The strap around the sole of your left foot. Measure the strap, get it nice and equal, and then give it a wrap. I'm going to show how to do this with my hands on this side. Fingers interlaced behind the left thigh. Little anterior tilt in your pelvis. Stretch the right leg out. Now activate your feet. Spread the toes, especially that pinky toe. Keep that standing leg stable, your right leg, trying to reach the back of your right thigh down into the floor. And then from that steadiness, bend your elbows, pull your foot towards your head. Deepen your breathing. Two more breaths. One more. And back off on your stretch. Turn the leg out, guide it out to the side. You can use your strap. I know some of you can probably hold your foot, and you're welcome to do that in this turned out position. Left leg turned out, even trying to point your toes down towards the floor. Don't go so far as you lose this connection on the right leg, and then draw the left foot toward your head. With your exhale, come all the way back up to the top. Bend the right knee. Put your foot on the floor. Lift your hips. Shift them to the outside edge of your hip. And now cross that leg all the way over. Left arm reaches out to the side. Palm faces up. Your right hand can support your shin or your calf there. Got my fingers on my calf. Outer edge of your left hip. Wrap it down towards your right foot. Take your gaze out over to the left. And breathe. With your exhale, come all the way back up. Put your foot down. Straighten out your hips. Good, now roll over onto your side. Push yourself up onto all fours. You can move your strap and your blankets out of the way. From all fours, hands below your shoulders. Spread your fingers, root your knuckles, and then squeeze the mat with your finger pads. Toes curled under. Lift your knees and hips into downward facing dog. Now I'm putting a little bend in my knees, and I'll ask you to step your feet to the outside edges of your mat. So that'll give you a nice broad foundation, a little bit more comfortable in the back of your legs, back of your hips. With your knees bent, lift your tailbone up and reach real strong through your arms. The bottom edge of the ribs, the front of your ribs, pull them in as you reach through your arms. If you can, reach your heels to the floor. Straighten your legs. Press equally from your feet into your hands. So it's not all hands, it's not all feet, they're both are rooting strong. Two more breaths. Last breath. Bend your knees, look up between your hands, and now just walk your feet forward to the front of your mat into a standing forward fold. Feet at least hip width apart. Feet in parallel. Take your hands, find your hip bones, and then you'll firm your shoulder blades onto your back. With your inhale, rise all the way up. Good. Now, I want you to step your right leg back, right foot back, and spin the foot down. So if I look back at this back foot, these toes are pointed, if I'm looking on a kind of a clock here, these toes are pointed out to about 10 o'clock. And then this right foot, I want you to heel toe this right foot over to the right a little bit so that if you painted a stripe down the middle of your mat, you'd have about this much space between your feet from left to right, about 4 to 6 inches. Take your hands to your hips. Straighten the back leg and bend into your front knee. Now, I don't want you to be so concerned about turning your hips to the front. My hips are at about 11 o'clock. Yeah, I'm not trying to crank my hips so much as actually trying to square my chest. Root through the back leg and square your chest to the front. Reach the arms up. This is our warrior one position. Back leg steady. Bend into the front knee. Arms lift. Come to your breath. Your gaze, fix it straight ahead, or if you want, you could look up. Go wherever your breath is leading you. Be as big as you want to be. One more breath. Lower the arms, hands to your hips, and then you'll step forward to the front of your mat. Good, and let's switch to the other side. I'll turn around so we can see it from this side. With your hands on your hips, step your right leg back. Spin your foot down. Walk your left foot heel toe a little bit to the left. This gives us a little bit more room for our hips and our legs to be able to make this shape. Try it on this side. I want you to bend your elbows and put your fingertips on your shoulders like you're wearing epaulettes on your shoulders here. Steady the back leg, bend into the front knee, square your chest to the front. Deepen your breathing. Now go ahead and reach your arms up. Put a lot of energy into that back leg. Even engage the buttocks. Squeeze all the way from your from your feet into your hip. Three more breaths. Two more. One more full. And lower the arms down. Step forward to the front of your mat. Same leg configuration, but we'll add a forward fold this time. This pose called Parsvatanasana, or the pyramid pose. Some of you may want to use your strap, or you could use a towel. We're going to have the hands behind the back. So for some of us, having our hands behind the back with a strap is going to be more effective than the traditional method of palms together in prayer position behind your back. I'll start off with my fingertips. I'll walk my hands up. And then we'll step the left leg back. Same legs as our warrior one legs, but they're going to be straight this time. I'll walk my right foot a little bit to the right. I'm going to shorten my stride just a little bit. It's not as open as the warrior one. All right, so either hands in prayer, or sometimes you can just hold your waistband, or you could hold your fingers interlaced behind your back like this. Take a full breath in and fold forward. Now you might need to put a little bend in your knees. You're working towards straightening the legs and bowing over. Two more breaths. That front hamstring is talking to me right now. So if it's talking to you, back off a little bit. With your exhale, come all the way back up. Release your hands. Step forward to the front of your mat. Take a breath, let it out. And let's do the other side. This side I'm going to show you with the strap how that works. I'll just hold the strap pretty much shoulder width apart behind my back, palms faced back. Step your right leg back. Foot spins down, a little shorter stride from front to back, and then you'll walk your left foot to the left. Firm your legs, take a full breath in, and as you exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, and then bow forward. Let your spine fold. lift your hands up if you have the strap. If you have your hands in prayer position, you might find gravity helps you to bring your hands a little closer together, maybe a little higher towards your shoulders. Your left hip tacks back and your right hip wraps forward a little bit. With your exhale, come all the way back up. Release your hands. Set your strap to the side. Good. Now, if you have your blanket or a towel, get that now. And you'll open it up into this larger rectangle shape, and then you'll roll the rounded edge towards the open edge. If you don't have a towel, it's quite all right. I'm showing this more as kind of a remedial way to do malasana, the garland pose. If you have your towel, step onto the towel so that your heels are on the blanket or towel. Your feet a little bit wider than shoulder width. And then now you'll squat down. I'll bring my arms inside my legs, hands in prayer position. Now as I bring my hands back towards me, it creates pressure onto the inside of my knees. Push your knees back into your arms and your arms back into your knees. Bring your heart center forward. Breathe. Breathe down into your belly, all the way down into the bottom of your pelvic bowl. And then you'll release the hands down, straighten the legs, step off of your blanket into a standing forward fold. Bring your hands to your hips. With your inhale, rise all the way up. Good, we'll do that again. Same thing for those of you that are on the blanket and you like doing the blanket. I'm going to do the same pose, but transition into the crow pose, Bakasana, where I'll put my hands down and I'll lift my feet up, and I'll talk you through it. Stand on your blanket. If you're doing the regular pose of the Malasana without the blanket, go ahead and squat, heels onto the floor. Same principle, arms to the inside of your leg. Press your legs on your arm. Bring your heart forward. Deepen your breathing. Good, now either stay here or go ahead and put your hands on the floor and lift your hips up. Walk your feet in towards each other and lift your heels. Hands on the floor, heels lifted, hips lifted. This may be it for some of us. If you're going further, take your knees and put them on the back of your arms. This may be as far as you go. If you can go a little further, lean forward, take weight into your hands, and then test the water. Lift one foot up, and then switch, and then lift the other foot up. If you can, lift both feet up. Bring the inner edges of your feet together, press them together. Keep breathing. And then come on down. Good job, everyone. That's a tough pose. Come to standing. Now I've got this lovely wall here that I can use. You can come to a wall or a door to steady yourself. If you feel pretty balanced, we're going to be standing on one leg in the dancer's pose. It's one of my favorite poses. So if you need to use the wall, go ahead and hold on to the wall. Otherwise, you just take your hand and put it on your hip. Bend your right leg. Reach back with your right hand to hold your right foot. Fix your gaze out in front of you. Pull your heel towards your buttocks, towards the outside edge of your hip. Get this, just a simple thigh stretch. If you can, reach your arm forward. Next, push the right foot back into your right hand. Try and keep your chest lifted. Move your right thigh back. Now I'm hinging forward, rocking forward on the top of my standing leg, but I'm going to keep my chest and my head lifted. Lifting that right foot up as much as possible, much as feels right at this moment. Good. And then gracefully make your way back to the start position and lower your foot down to the floor. We'll do the other side. Stand on your right leg. Lift your left foot up. Left hand reaches back. If you need to, hold on to the wall. Otherwise, hand in your hip. Simple thigh stretch here in the beginning. Bend your left elbow. Pull your foot towards your hip. And now let's go a little further. Kick the leg back. Reach the right hand, right arm forward. Use that leg that's lifted as much as you can before you start to rock forward. Stay with your breath through your nose. Good, and then come back to the start, hand at your hip, release your foot. And just stand in a simple Tadasana, feet hip width apart, arms down next to your side. Soften your eyes. Become aware of your breathing. All right, let's make our way down onto our hands and knees. This pose is a variation of the half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. We're going to do it on our hands and knees first, because it's a really challenging pose on a lot of different levels. And I find if we can experience a lot of fun here on our hands and knees. So use a blanket under your knees just to give them a little bit of loving there. So from all fours, you'll stretch your right leg back. Excuse me, I'm doing my left leg back, and lift the left leg up to hip height. Did I do that right? Yeah. And then give yourself a little kickstand with the right foot behind you. Good. Now start to open up your left hip so much that the left toes point towards me, towards the camera. And I'm even coming onto my left fingertips to open up my hips a little bit more. That right thigh is externally rotating, and I'm rooting down through my right thigh, right knee into the mat. Left toes pointed towards me. But now level off the hips, come back down, knee on the floor. We'll do the other side. Stretch your right leg back. Give yourself a little kickstand here before we go too far with that left foot behind you. Lift the right leg up. And now start to open up the hips. And when I say open, it's kind of like the front of my groin is opening, right? By externally rotating the left leg, pointing the right toes towards me, flex the right foot. Buttocks is firm. Good. And then come back down onto hands and knees. Back to the first side. I'm going to turn around. This one, we'll add in bending the leg that's lifted and reach back and hold it with our hands. Let's see if we can do that. Left leg reaches back, float it up. Start to open up your hips. Come onto your left fingertips. Shift your right hand so it's lining up with your knee. Left hand, take it to your left hip. From here, bend your left knee as if you're going to kick yourself in the butt with your left heel. Left hand, reach back, hold your foot. With the hand on the top of your foot, just like in that dancer's pose, kick the foot back. Extend your spine, curl your chest. Deepen your breathing. Good, now gracefully release out of that. Stretch the leg out, reach the arm up, and put the leg down and the hand down. Good, and we'll switch to the other side. Stretch the right leg back, little kickstand. Float the right leg up. Here in the beginning, just open up the hips. Point the right toes towards the camera. Shift your left hand so it's in line with that left knee. Right hand, bring it to your hip. So you're fully open towards me. That's it. Now bend your right knee. Right heel kicking your hip. Right hand, it's right there. You can just reach back, hold your foot now. Now kick the foot back into your hand, really strong. Firm around your midsection. Lift your heart. Deepen your breath. Good, gracefully release your foot. Stretch the leg out, reach the arm up. And put the leg down, hands down. Oh, good, you can take this blanket, move it out to the side, and bow forward into a child's pose. A little bit of a rest here. All right, inhale as you come on up. All right, that was the variation of half moon pose. Now we're going to try it standing. If you know standing is not going to work for you, you'll just do the same thing we did. Otherwise, I'm going to talk it through from standing. So come up onto your feet. Come near the front of your mat. I have these blocks here. Some people, they feel a little bit more steady bowing forward because they can't quite reach the floor. And in this pose, it's vital that your hands, one or two of them are on the floor. So if you know you need blocks, go ahead and use blocks. I'll show it with blocks and the other side without blocks. Go ahead and bow forward, feet hip width apart. I've got my blocks kind of below my shoulders here. And now, just like on our hands and knees, that left leg lifts up behind me. Stay bowed over. Bend your elbows enough so you can bow forward. Now, start to open up the hips. Point the left toes towards me. Lift your belly, especially on that right side of your waist. Lift your belly up so your kidneys are puffed up. Now either stay here, two hands on the floor, or if you can, sneak that left hand to your left hip. If you're going further, start to lift your torso and spine away from the floor. Looking down is a good choice, right? That's a real steady way to approach this. If you feel that you can, start to look towards the side, even reach your arm up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. You're in the half moon pose. You're flying. Put the hand down, level off your hips, step forward into the front, into a standing forward fold. Good. And we've got our other side. I'm going to shift to the other side. So we'll show how it is without the blocks. This other side, right leg lifts up, hip height. You can even look back at that right leg, right foot. Make sure those toes are pointed straight down here in the beginning. And then now start to open up the right leg. So the toes point towards me, the kneecap point towards me. And you're lifting in the waist, especially the left side of your waist. Push into your fingers, that'll help you with that. If you can now, sneak right hand to your right hip. If you're going further, start to lift your chest higher. That left hand, left thumb, that lines up with your left pinky toe. If you're going further, open your chest. Reach the arm up. 2 more breaths. Last breath.
With an exhale, reach down, level off your hips, and then gracefully lower the leg to the floor. Hands to your hips. With your inhale, rise all the way up. Go ahead and reach your arms up. And bring your hands together at your heart. How are we doing? Come down onto your knees. Again, if you need a little padding for your knees, I'm going to kneel on my blanket. Knees together, feet together. Go ahead and sit on your heels. Take your hands, rest them in your lap, palms face up. Close your eyes. Come aware of your breathing. See if you can access some of the Ujjayi pranayama you cultivated in the beginning. A gentle ocean breath, equalizing the length of your inhale to your exhale. All right, open your eyes. Okay, move your blanket and blocks out of the way. Got a couple more to go here. Moving into the back bend portion of our afternoon. Come down onto your stomach with your legs stretched out. And you're on your forearms. Cross your arms so that your forearms are right next to each other under your shoulders. Make your hips comfortable. Melt your spine down between your shoulders until you can feel the belly onto the floor. And then firm your legs. Draw the skin of your belly away from the mat. Engage your arms. Now bend your left leg. Reach back with the left hand. Hold your left foot. Now if this doesn't work for some of you, you might not be able to reach your left foot. You can use your strap. Wrap the strap around your foot. I'm not going to show it on this side. I'll show it on the other. Now look down at your forearm. Push into your forearm. Lift your abdomen away from the mat. Both legs engaged. Bend your left elbow. Pull your heel towards your buttocks, just like we did in dancer's pose. Breathe. Good, now, same thing in dancer's pose. Kick your leg back, kick your foot back. Use that kicking back to help you lift your chest up. Push in your forearm. Some of you stay right here, or you could shift this right arm forward and out to the side and push up maybe into a little bit deeper aspect of the pose. And then come on down. Release your foot. Lower your head and chest. And just turn your head to one side and rest. Let's do the other side. Come up onto your forearms again. I'm going to get my strap ready this time so I can show you that one. Forearms crossed under your shoulders. Engage your legs. Belly draws in. Bend the right knee, reach back. If you're using your strap, it's a little awkward, but you can grab the strap with your foot or your foot with the strap. Push into your forearm. Belly draws in toward your spine. But now kick that leg back. Kick it back really strong. You probably don't need the strap for that part. You could switch to holding your foot. Ekapada Dhanurasana. And release your foot. Come all the way down. Child's pose. Use your hands. Glide your hips back. Stretch out your low back and your hips. All right, inhale as you come up. All right. Get your blanket, if you have a blanket, and sit on the blanket. I'm just going to put it on its low setting here, near the back of my mat. Open your legs out wide. Use your fingertips behind you to lift your hips up just for a moment, and then move your groin back. All right, so rather than tucking pelvis under, you want to have the pelvis either in neutral or a little bit anterior tilt. Take your fingertips behind you, curl your chest up, press your thighs down. Bottom tips of your shoulder blades, hug them in towards each other. Lift your heart, take a big breath. And as you exhale, begin to hinge forward, walking your hands forward. Pause before you go too far. Take a look at your legs. Make sure your legs are active, toes spread, kneecaps pointed up. And then very mindfully walk your hands forward into a forward fold. The legs stay awake, they stay active so that your spine and torso can relax a little bit more into it from the steadiness of the legs. And then make your way back on up. Walk your hands in. Bend your knees. Lean back. Using your hands, bring your legs in. Still using your mat. I'm going to turn on the angle here so you can see this from another perspective. Bend your left leg. Left heel comes into your groin. Turn towards your right leg. Kneecap, toes pointed straight up. Take a breath in, lengthen through your spine. And as you exhale, just hinge at the hips and keep the length in your torso. So I'm not going to be able to come very far in this. From here, pause. And then I want you to lower your chin in. Draw your belly in. Curl forward, bow forward, head toward your knee. Your hands can stay framing your leg as you bow forward, or if you want to, you can hold on to your leg or your foot, whichever makes sense for you. If you have a pretty deep forward fold, be sure to bend your elbows out to the side. That'll help you get your arms engaged, your shoulder blades onto your back. Soften your eyes and breathe. Good. Inhale. Come on up. Let's do the other side. I'm going to shift around so you can see it from an angle. Left leg straight, right knee bends in. If you need to create a better seat, pull the flesh from your sit bones. Turn towards your left leg. Take a breath in. And begin to hinge forward. Just hinge, right? By doing this hinging at the hip socket with the spine, we're getting as much length out of the back of the hips and the hamstring as we can before we take the fold into the rest of the body. Drop the chin, curl, head to knee. Walk your hands forward. Listen to your body. Do what feels right for you. Listen to your breath. Follow your breath. Go where it leads you. Last breath. With your exhale, come on up.
I'm going to set my blanket to the side. You could do this pose with your blanket, but I'm going to show without. This is Paschimottanasana. Our legs extended. Open your legs just a little bit wider than parallel. Just a little bit, not wider than parallel. Wider than hip width. They're in parallel, of course. You pull the flesh from your sit bones. Sit tall. And then take your hands and arms, lift them up, interlace your fingers, just the first knuckle of your fingers, your thumbs draping down the back of your neck. Gently give yourself a little traction, right? So you're just gently pulling up the skull. Shoulder blades gently elevating. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, same idea, hinge forward. Now notice as you hinge forward, you have to use your legs more. Steady your legs. Keep leaning forward, keep hinging, lengthening forward. And now keeping your legs steady, reach your arms out, hold on to either your feet or your ankles, your shins, whatever you can get your fingers on, and bow. Last breath. And come on up. I'm going to show you a variation here. Well, actually, not a variation, a rest pose. You can lay down in Shavasana if that's where you want to go right now. Otherwise, I'm going to show this pose called legs up the wall. Right? A lot of people like to do an inversion at the end of their practice. I'm going to use a blanket so my hips don't lay on the mat or the floor. I'm going to have the blanket off to the side. And what you do is you sit pretty close to the wall. You lay back, and as you lay back, you swivel your legs up the wall. I'm going to center myself so I'm more centered on my mat here. My hips are about, let's say 5-6 inches from the wall. The closer to the wall you are, the little bit more challenging for your hamstrings. So if you have tighter hamstrings, you might want to have your legs, your hips further from the wall. Now here's where we bring our blanket in. Bend your knees, put your feet on the wall, push into the wall, lift your hips up enough so you can sneak that blanket underneath your pelvis. And then you can re-straighten your legs up the wall. Your arms and hands out to the side. And you just let it all go. Now there's a couple leg variations that we have here for this pose called Viparita Karani. This first one is our legs just up the wall, right? But with the blood flow, they can become uncomfortable for some of us after a few breaths or another minute or so. And so here's our variations, right? This will be number 1, legs up the wall. Number 2 is legs open out wide. Open out wide. And you can allow your toes to point down, relaxing your legs best you can. This will be our number 2 position. And then after a few breaths, if this becomes uncomfortable or you just want to move them to the next, maybe back up the wall. Here's our third one. We bring the soles of the feet together with the knees staying wide. The heels come further down towards your groin. Let your legs relax. Let your breath return to just a normal rhythm. You're not trying to do the Ujjayi pranayama anymore. Let your face soften, your eyes gently closed. And if you need to shift your legs again or multiple times, you go ahead and do that, whatever makes you comfortable. Be here for another few breaths. Add that if you don't have a wall available, you could put your legs up on just a stack of blankets. They don't have to be lifted very high, just even a couple inches, and you'll get the benefit of the elevation of the legs. You could put them on an ottoman or the couch, a chair. On your own time, with the next few breaths, you bend your knees, you lift your hips up, blanket comes out from underneath, hips come down, and then you just roll over onto your side. You decide which side works best for you, left or right. Just pause there on your side, let your body readjust to a new equilibrium. And go ahead and push yourself on up into a seated position. Thank you all for coming and sharing your practice with me this afternoon. Namaste.